Hi there and welcome to the Riyadh, Saudi Arabia sequence of Wheels Abroad. I did 2 inline skating trips and 1 biking trip, and I'll leave the detailed introductions to each of the separate videos, but I happen to be on the top floor of the Hallmark Kingdom Tower building, and that gives me a splendid opportunity to show you where I've been. Check out the view. Check out the view. Now, inline skating trip 1 started kind of in the west and led me up in the northwestern direction, all the way to King Abdullah Financial Center that you see in the back there, the skyscrapers right there. The second inline skating trip, I have to move over here. Oh. The floor is not even here. The second inline skating trip started in the south, in the, let's say, the more authentic parts of the city, and took me past some really nice historic places of the city of Riyadh. And the biking trip, I have to move again, was over there, kind of in the northeast, where the Porsche areas of the city are. So that was a lot of fun too. All right, let's start inline skating trip 2. Alright, we arrived at Skirina Metro Station in the south part of Riyadh, in the older part of Riyadh. Welcome to a new Wheels Abroad video, again from Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. I gave a more extensive introduction in my first inline skating video, so check that out. The thumbnail is over here. Yeah, this trip proved to be a highly unique one, so I prepared an additional introduction with lots of inside information. Of course, you can skip it, fast forward, and get live to the action, or you can stay tuned for some cool inside information. Here is the country of Saudi Arabia, and right there is its capital, Riyadh. Right there, in the middle of the desert. Now, my first skate video took me to the north of Riyadh, that part over there. And you have witnessed the spacious setup of North Riyadh firsthand in my first skating video. And today, we're going to South Riyadh, the old Riyadh. And that's quite a contrast to the more affluent northern part of the city. The southern part is a bit rougher at the edges, a little bit less posh. Though I can tell you, it was quite a ride and very safe, honestly. Specifically, I would spend the first part of the trip in the municipality of Al-Batha. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that's kind of where Al-Batha is. And I took the metro to metro station Skirina. Brand new. The metro station just opened a few weeks before I arrived there. It's named after the neighborhood of Skirina, also known as Al-Skirina, and that is itself one of the oldest neighborhoods of Riyadh. Now, despite the name of the metro station, I would actually not be formally in the area of Skirina, but I would skate in the adjacent Manfuhah Al-Jadida neighborhood. And the Manfuhah area is apparently even more history-packed than Skirina. Much more on Manfuhah in a single-shot 6-minute segment coming up later in this video as I skate my way through the neighborhood. Suffice it to say that Google Maps also shows a clear indication of the historic nature of the area I was in. If I zoom out again, if you look at, for example, how northern Riyadh is constructed, you can see it right there. And if you go to the area I was starting in today, like right there, you can see already the densely packed streets of the area. That's usually an indication of a more historic nature of an area. And I could easily see this too when I arrived at the metro station, as the following segment shows. So metro station Skirina, and while exiting the subway train, I could already see that it's going to be different. Yeah, it looks different than the northern side of Riyadh, as expected. It's a little bit more dense, let's say. It reminds me a little bit more of Cairo. This part of Riyadh definitely reminded me more of Cairo and Giza, where I skated the year before, whereas North Riyadh had certainly not reminded me so much of Cairo and Giza. Very densely packed. Now, Skirina is kind of encapsulated by Manfuhah, as this map over here shows. In all, I gotta tell you, this part of the Al-Batha municipality felt like a history-packed and at times somewhat of a mystic place. And I was very, very excited to explore this part of Riyadh on skates as well, the old part of Riyadh. After Al-Batha, I would go to the heart of Riyadh, again packed with history, and stay tuned for that. Some unexpected things happened, and the area left quite an impression on me from all sorts of angles. And adding to the vibe was the fact that there were pretty much no other tourists around. I was all by myself skating around Riyadh as a tourist. And to me, it felt it was explorative Wheels Abroad skating at its best. Really, in a city largely unexplored by the rest of the world. And it definitely makes my top 3 of unique trips. So here we go. My legs are a little bit hurting. I did some inline skating 2 days ago. Yesterday I biked. But the biking trip yesterday went completely different than expected because of all the difficult intersections. So I had to seriously deviate from my planned route, which means that some things that I wanted to show yesterday during biking, I'm going to show today, which is the southern part of the city. Today's Friday. That is of course the day of rest in Islamic societies. So kind of the Sunday for Christian people. So we're going to go in that direction soon. Over here. Excited to do that. Right. I guess I'm ready to roll. Backpack. Wrist protectors. Let's go. Making sure I didn't leave. Whoa. Something is wrong. Never leave home without it. It's really odd. Only this skate is suffering from the problems, not this one. Look at all the dust and sand on my wheels. What do you mean we're in the desert? The other one too. Have to maybe loosen them a little bit, but not too much. What also often helps is give them a good spin before you start. Yeah, I loosened the wheels a little bit. Give them a good swing. Not too comfortable with this, because you want to have the wheels, of course, very tight. But let's see, sometimes the problem solves itself upon having skated for a little while. So let's see. Oh, that was not, oh wait, here. There was sand there. So let's go ahead and try. I can feel them being a little bit loose. Well, let's see. Worst case scenario, I'll have to stop at some point and make my way back to the subway station. I'll try to tighten them up a little bit later. First impression, more authentic than North Riyadh. So far decent asphalt. At some point I have to go north. Here, call for prayers. Go that way. Steep one. And steep one down. very steep. Yeah, that's very noisy. Sorry, people. Sorry. Sorry. But safety first. Safety first. Bus stop. Oh, I heard something. Thought that was a screw from my skiers, but it wasn't. It's okay. This is also my last skating endeavor in Riyadh. Looks pretty nice. Like I said, authentic. I saw an opportunity to go further north. Right here. Yeah, so I'm in the sub-municipality of Al-Batha. Online, it has been mentioned sometimes as one of the worst areas of the city. But I think I've seen much worse. Not in Riyadh, but elsewhere on this planet. Actually a nice authentic neighborhood, the older part of the city, and it shows. I think the north is much more flashy, new stuff, which you don't see over here. I think I know which street this is. There's a barber shop. Not that I knew that before I came here, but let's see. I think, okay, map time, and I'm gonna try to tighten the wheels a little bit more. Yeah, I know my inline skates, of course, inside and out. It just needed those 2 kilometers to get into the groove again. So we're ready to go again. Thank you, tool. Thank you a lot. Ready to roll again. That's where I tighten the wheels again. On that set of, let's say, 2 stairs. Great to have you back. Inline skates, great to have you back. In full effect. There you see the subway line, the blue line that I just took. Take a left here. Yeah, we're now entering an area that on Google Maps is called Al-Batha, but with a much smaller area. So I read that the sub-municipality of Al-Batha is a conglomeration of 6 smaller neighborhoods. So I wonder, but I'm not sure, if this is the original Al-Batha neighborhood and it has been merged with 5 others to a bigger locality, so the sub-municipality that is also called Al-Batha. I couldn't find that online, but somehow that could be a somewhat plausible theory, I guess. Again, be listed online as one of the worst neighborhoods, but you know, now that I'm here, it's not a slum, at least not in my eyes. It's more authentic. Different faces, complementary faces. Love that. And here I'm doing that in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. We are in fact maybe a kilometer or two from the old heart of the city. I think I see it in the back already there. So let's go there. Let's try this alley. Oh, the asphalt. Oh, the asphalt. Sort of a back alley. Oh, sand. Sand. Why am I not surprised? Sand is one of the worst enemies of inline skating, obviously. Why then, you wonder, am I taking my inline skates to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in the middle of the freaking desert? Good question. Just because it's cool. Al Madinah Road, the road to Medina, the second holiest city of the Islam after Mecca. Seen Mecca Road already. Mecca, the holiest city. Off limits for non-Muslims. But I'm not going there. So I have to see. I think it's over there where I have to go. Yes. Pretty certain about that. The historic heart of the city. Right there. Yeah, that's the old walled city of Riyadh right there. And here's a map from 1922 showing it. And much more on this historic place will follow. For now I want to highlight that at the very end of the video we will see one of the last remaining watchtowers of the old city. So stay tuned for that. It may very well be that I'm not allowed in with my inline skates. While on my right hand side, 2 tourists. I haven't seen tourists as far as I know for 2 days. And for first measures I think I'll remove my GoPro camera. Yeah, so let me remove the camera.
A few moments later.
So for a moment I thought the place was closed, but it is open. But the guard said please no skates. Of course I fully respect that. So I'm gonna take my skates off. Because the guards are looking at me, not in a negative way. They're probably thinking, huh? A guy on inline skates? Well, will you look at me? I'm the average tourist again. The metamorphosis. In any other country I would no longer stand out. Here I still stand out.
A few moments later.
So right there is the place I wanted to go. So I wanted to go in, and the guard, a very friendly guy, he said, are you Muslim? It's like, no, I'm not a Muslim. Then you're not allowed in. You know, nobody said that online. There was no mention of that online, but I respect it, obviously. This place is only for Muslims. So what I'm gonna do, I am gonna walk you through a whole lot of things that you could see there. I'll supplement it with pictures from online sources, right? So you still get a feeling of what is inside here. But basically the bottom line is, this is the old heart of Riyadh. This is where it started. This is where it started, the old walled town. And a few decades ago, I think around 1940 or so, the king at the time moved his premises from this side over to a northern location. We're gonna go there by inline skates in a little while. And that was also the sign for a rapid expansion of the city of Riyadh. But this is where it started. So what I'll do is I'll walk past the premises slowly, and I'll read out the information that I had lined up for you. It's too much to remember, so I have to read from my iPhone. Yeah, same day, but then at night. Over there is the bench where I changed my inline skates and shoes twice today. And I have a little update for you. I don't know what went wrong this afternoon at the entrance right behind me. Right there. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but I checked with the hotel staff and I should be allowed in. Maybe it was a different entrance. So I'll go and visit the square anyway, and there are some upsides to this anyway. I got to ride the metro during rush hour, even though it's a Friday. It was very busy. We have a nice dark atmosphere. Maybe that adds to the experience. You know, I don't know what this place is, but this is the place I was trying to get entrance to. Looks really nice, as a matter of fact. Yep, looks very open to me. I must have been attempting to access the wrong side somehow. Well, that's okay. Better late than never, right? Oh, here you go. Here you go. Wow, that is pretty impressive actually. Fun fact, I just saw a little kid skating around. Quite some skaters here now at night. But I'm pretty certain I would have felt a little bit awkward skating here. Truth be told, this may actually be a better time to be here than this afternoon. It's nighttime, people are enjoying themselves. The weather is really nice. Not too cold, not too warm. So yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna record audio because I already recorded it this afternoon while walking past this street over here. But I'll just have the videos and I'll edit it in such a way that the videos match the audio that I did this afternoon. So yeah, let's do some recording of some buildings accompanied by my audio from this afternoon. You have 4 very important cultural heritage landmarks, namely Mesmak Fortress, Imam Turki bin Abdullah Grand Mosque, Dera Square and Al Hukm Palace. So let me deal with them one by one. Al Hukm Palace is where King Abdulaziz spent more than 30 years before moving, as mentioned already, to Al Murabba Palace in 1938. The first foundations were laid in 1747, and that was actually almost 80 years before Riyadh was pronounced to be the capital of the second Saudi state in 1824. Also here would be the Imam Turki bin Abdullah Grand Mosque. It's also known as the Grand Mosque of Riyadh. I don't think it's the largest one, because that was on the agenda yesterday, but I couldn't make it there. It was established between 1826 and 1830, rebuilt 1992, and can hold 17,000 worshippers in an area amounting to 16,800 square meters. It's one of the largest mosques of Saudi Arabia, and my expectation is that there will be, it being Friday, a big prayer service here this afternoon. All right. Also there would be the Mesmak Fortress, also known as the Mesmak Palace. It was constructed a long time ago, actually, in the 14th century, during the reign of Imam Abdullah bin Faisal. It has only 2 entrances, which I think is interesting. And it's now a museum. The last thing is the Dera Square. And that is a story on its own, because Dera Square is also known as Justice Square, Safa Square, or Chop Chop Square. Now, why is it called Chop Chop Square? Because that used to be the historic site of public executions. Right now they're not public anymore, stopped a few years ago. Yeah, so with Al Dera Square, also known as Chop Chop Square, right behind me over here, I conclude that maybe this is a much better time to be here. Very lively, a lot of fun seeing all the people around here. It's a little bit sobering to know what took place at this very square until only a few years ago. So I'm gonna put the inline skates back on. I'm gonna head north to the first expansion point that led to an even further expansion of the city of Riyadh, all the way to the north. Changed again. Shot my shoes for inline skates. In the background you can hear the call for prayers. It was an interesting episode. It was one of those moments where you realize that this is not your average tourist destination. Far from that. In my first inline skating video, I explained that the country has only very recently opened up to tourists from outside Saudi Arabia. I mean, you have to do your homework, of course. You have to be respectful, which I always am. Other than that, I think it's very cool to be here. A very unique spot. I would love to take that opportunity and explore this unique city and share it with you on wheels. I'm gonna take it to the north, but let me first press the pedestrian button here. Yeah, please wait. Okay, I will wait while taking up strategic position here. Green light. There we go. Alright, off we go. On King Faisal Street, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Al Tumaira Gate is one of the last remaining gates of the original 10 gates surrounding Riyadh's old city. And it served as a main entrance to the old walled town from the east until 1954. It's right there on this 1922 map of the old walled town of Riyadh. And it's only fitting that I close part 1 of this trip with this view of a reminder of the past of Riyadh. So join me in part 2 for an exploration of the Al Murabba area. The government and royal buildings of the old Riyadh, so the part I just left, were moved there in 1939 and it became the new center of power in the country. Lots of stories to tell there, and I would see palaces and big mosques. And then there is the third and final part of this trip, where we'll move even more north in the direction of the city expansion, moving into the sub-municipality of Al Olaya, which definitely looks different compared to Al Malaz and Al-Batha. Now this video will also contain some slapsticks, such as me being directed away by the police from a sensitive building and me finding several brand new metro stations in a row to be closed, continuously pushing my endpoint, projected endpoint of the trip backwards. I will also bike in Riyadh. Watch me battle difficult junctions as I make my way through the posher parts of Riyadh. Look at me smoothly crossing over here, simply demanding my space. I had to. The junctions here were no joke. And deep in the neighborhoods of this desert city, I would find small parks with green, a rarity here and there in a desert city, of course, and people enjoying their time off. It was really nice. But in the meantime, I'm also still working on my videos on Buenos Aires, the capital city of the country of Argentina, in the continent of South America. Completely different spot on this planet, completely different city compared to Riyadh, but that's what I love, right? All these different cities, all these different flavors. So stay tuned and subscribe if you like this kind of urban exploration on wheels.